Setting up the A-frame level. The future of farming is with contour lines. As of recently with tractor technology, we took a break from that because tractors like straight rows. But to get the most amount of efficiency from your system, we want to be planning natured intended. And contour lines is how we measure slopes on a hill. So contour lines, if you plant on the contour line, it'll slow water down. So contour line is a level line across typically a broad acreage. And as the water rains, it hits the hillside or even a flat area, and then it will go downhill and then be caught on a contour line if we plant our bed correctly. That way, all of the water that's caught will sink down into the landscape and store it in the soil, which is where the plants can use it. If the water just runs over top, it ultimately is taking all that dirt that we spent a long time, a lot of effort cover cropping to get it right and fertile, to then just wash it down. So planting on contour lines slows erosion by storing water in the landscape where it's available for the plants that we want to grow. So it's cold right now, but setting up our beds for the springtime in the right way will save us time and money. This is the A-frame level, and it's a way of measuring contour lines, which are level lines across broad acreages. We use it in our garden because it collects water and sequesters it in the ground, as well as any nutrients that run off, and make it available to the plants that we want to plant and benefit from. So let me show you how to set up an A-frame level. An A-frame level is essentially, this could be done completely primitively, but it's 3 pieces of material that form this A shape. These 2 points are ends for measuring, and then this is our calibration line. Notice I have a piece of tape because it changes all the time. But these flags in my hand is how we can make sure we're getting the right reading. So I take one and leave it in the ground on this peg. Man, the ground is like super cold right now. All right, cool. So I put it, marking that out, and then I take another one and mark out the other side. So wherever this string lands is where I want to mark with my marker. If the wind is blowing or if there's tall grass, it might be difficult to calibrate it. But wherever this lands, when it's hanging vertically and not moving around too much, we can put a mark right there. Excellent. Now I need to get it from the other side. So flipping the A-frame level around allows me to make a mark measuring the difference in these 2 points. There we go. So here's the mark I made from the one side. Here's the mark I made from the other. Now we need to find the center point. And the way we can do that is with a string, measuring it out, folding it over till we get about halfway, or we can just generally eyeball it. I think that's close enough. I'll mark that as center. And now we have a calibrated A-frame level. This is great for marking out beds. There's more accurate ways, either like a laser level or a transit. There's lots of ways to measure these out, but I go back time and time again to the A-frame level because it's easy to set up, it's relatively portable, but ultimately it's ancient technology that has worked for thousands of years. So I can take any point on the ground and measure out level contour lines. And the way I start doing that is by taking the point and then moving this other point around until my string winds up on that center line. Now that might take a couple of tries, but I can move it uphill, downhill, wherever I need to be until it gets to the center. Oh, gotta go back downhill. There we go. So you can see that string hanging right there on the center. So now I need to get a flag or marking paint and spray paint it right there. So now I need to find the next point. And this I do by reversing the A-frame level. See, if I went like this, that margin of error would add up over time. So I take the A-frame. It's so cold the tape's not sticking well. Nice. So take this point and then jump the A-frame level this way. Now I'm looking for that center mark again. I like right on it. Very cool. So I can put this flag here. I can continue this trend by marching the A-frame level over a long distance. So if we're doing a backyard garden, we just might have one bed that extends the length of the yard or the length of the townhome or whatever area you have. Contour lines are everywhere. It's just how big do you want your garden to be? So we could have a 100 square foot garden just on one line, or we could have 1,000 square feet or whatever size we need to. This technology is applicable because it captures any water that's given to us on the surface when the rain falls. We have these lines that we're laying out, and then over time, now it's not perfect, right? We can generalize and sculpt develop these lines using an average of like multiple points. But that gives us broad acre gardens, that gives us backyard gardens, that gives us whatever we need. We can even build raised beds on this level line and have a really nice terrace system. So if we expand to a larger view of what we've done at our market garden example, we have these ridges, these terraces that you plenty of times. These were laid out with an A-frame level just the same. And it allows us to have these flat, large garden beds that step down into large garden beds. So we have the terraces up here, and then we have the contour lines. You've seen me planting these before, and these are marked in with these wooden stakes. So we have a grass area, a clover area, a pathway next to our planting beds, next to another pathway, another planting beds. And all of this is doing is capturing whatever water we have, sinking it into the soil, reducing our need for drip irrigation or sprinklers or however we're gonna water these crops. It reduces that need, but at the same time, it collects whatever fertilizer, whatever manure we've put on in the wintertime, either by rotationally grazing chickens through this area, bringing the goats in. So we have fertilization and watering all in the intentional design that comes from the A-frame level. Of course, we could do lasers, we could do transit, we could do ocular levels to figure out these same lines. But I go back time and time again to the A-frame level because it's reliable, it's cheap, and ultimately it's efficient and brings that efficiency to your garden, whatever the scale. Having a successful garden in the spring starts with planning now. You can get great tips like this that we share every week in our Homestead Mastermind community. Click the link below and join it to make sure that you have a nice, efficient garden